Good morning. This is Matthijs Luisman, Zylab, together with Jan Willem van den Berg, together your host in the webinar for Zylab 1, Deduplication Redesigned. Welcome, Jan Willem. Thank you for joining us in this session. You are the product manager for Zylab 1, is it?
That is true. I've been with Zylab for 15 years already, and currently I'm one of our product managers and responsible for all development on our Zylab 1 platform.
Okay, let's take a look at our menu for today. We're going to introduce, first of all, the Zylab 1 update of the 1st of June, because redesigned duplication is part of that update. And I'm going to introduce some of the details of that update as well. Next, I've asked our US customer support team to join us and to present the deduplication redesign functionality from within the interface. And then Jan Willem can introduce some of the new functionalities that are still on the roadmap, and we're going to expect them quite shortly in the coming weeks. Yeah, if you look at the update of the 1st of June, deduplication is in, and we're going to introduce all about deduplication in a few minutes. So let's take a look at the second functionality. We have included redactions. Jan Willem, it's all about efficient redaction of information. What has been added to this functionality in the last version?
Well, basically, we already had a quite extensive redaction repertoire, including quick redactions and a lot of features around redaction. But one thing that we learned from our customers that it would be nice if we could improve the UI in a way that people could much easier switch between different types of redactions. So we've added a right-click option. So if you right-click on an existing redaction, you can very easily change the way it looks, and like the exception codes or any of the other parts of the redaction by selecting one of your recent applied redactions. So basically there's like a shortcut way to modify redactions in a very easy way.
Okay, great. Yeah, the document viewer, you've been working on the document viewer as well. Resizing, what kind of functionality is that?
Well, in general, what we did, we recently updated the UI in basically updated all the entire UI to be complete. We didn't change the look and feel much, but it will improve in general the performance. And we also added a lot of smaller features that as part of this UI update. And one of them is the ability to drag and drop or resize your part of the UI, especially in the document view. This is handy. You can make the tagging palette. Previously, you could only fold it away to the side, but now you can actually resize it by dragging it, and the same goes for the document properties in the fields and the family widgets. Those are all now resizable.
Okay, so the look and feel of the document viewer have improved a lot.
In general, of the application, you won't see many differences, but you will experience it as a much smoother. Well, it will be a much smoother experience. So in general, the UI response times have improved quite drastically. But as part of this update, we're also able to improve the UI in smaller ways. For example, with dragging and dropping here.
Okay. Okay. Good. If we look at the deduplication functionality, because deduplication is our main item for today, the title is Deduplication Redesigned. First of all, why has Zylab decided to start with a redesign of the deduplication functionality?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So we already had deduplication support in our software. Mostly it was used during processing, where we would filter out duplicates, usually either on custodian or meta level. But we also offered as a service to our clients the ability to mark documents as duplicates and include duplicate counts in the UI. But this was all done on demand. There was no way for users to do this automatically themselves. And this is actually one of the features that was in the highest demand. So we decided to make it available in the UI, where people can now trigger the marking of duplicates from the UI. So basically, when the data is in, you can there is a new configuration page where you can decide whether you want to mark your duplicates on the meta level or custodian level. And whenever new data is added, you can trigger this again, and your documents will be marked again. And some other things we also added is whenever you run this deduplication process, we also mark. We add a flag whether a document is a main, unique, or duplicate document. We also do this on the family level, so we mark whether a document is the main or the family is the main family, a duplicate family, or a unique family. And we also added a duplicate count and the all custodians and all sources fields. So whenever a document is part of multiple custodians or multiple sources, we will add those custodians and sources to the all custodians and all sources fields. So this allows you at a glance to see which custodians and sources had these documents without having to review all the duplicates.
Okay, yeah, these are some screenshots from the interface, and of course we will look at the presentation of our US customer success team a little later as well. The deduplication, yeah, this was the main functionality, of course, to get it into the interface and to make it available to run it on meta level and custodian level. Is it that easy as it looks on the screen right now, Jan-Willem?
Currently, yes, it is. So
okay. Good.
Well, so, one thing we're contemplating here is actually to make this automatic. So whenever data enters the system, that we automatically update the deduplication status. But there are a few things to consider there. Like my documents are classified on unique, main, and duplicate. So a document can have 3 states. But if new documents enter the system, a document might change its state from being the unique document to being a duplicate document or a main document. We do preserve the state, right? So if a document was the main document and new documents enter the system, they will never turn a duplicate. So they will remain the main one. But you could imagine if we would automatically update these states when data enters the system, that if you have some documents or some queries already run or people are working with the data set, that it might be confusing if the states actually change. So that's why it's currently still a manual thing. If new data enters the system, we will inform the user that new data is there, so that the deduplication status might be outdated in the UI. But it's the responsibility of the review manager or the people responsible for this part to actually rerun deduplication detection on these documents, on their data.
Okay, so the interface,
but it's basically that easy. You click a button and it runs in the background.
Okay, so the interface looks quite easy. In the background, there's a lot more going on, of course. The 3 different stages or the status levels of duplicate documents. So the main, unique, main, and duplicates you already mentioned. So that's good. And of course, if we have that information, it's easy to present it as well. We have the facets over here. It's one way to present the grouping of documents based on duplicate by document, or maybe even duplicate by family. And then, of course, the grouping of the 3 different status levels. So is it a main document, a unique document, or a duplicate document? This is not only on faceted level, but we can of course do that. Searching. You can use it for searching as well. This information that is available. So easy filtering by using the facets, but also easy filtering by using the searching on the metadata. Combined, of course, with full text searches, this could be a starting point of your review process. And the information can of course also be used in the result list, in the document list, where it can be used to filter on, to sort on. And what I see in the upper left corner is that it is also presented, the total number of documents, families. What you can tell me about this? new function?
Yeah, so basically what we do is we, whenever you do a search or filter out documents, right, you get a result list with the number of documents and families in your current result set. And we now allow people to also filter out the duplicate documents or families from their result list. So, and well, actually preserve this, so when you filter them out, they will remain filtered out. But this allows you to get a bit of an idea of the amount of duplication in your data set, and also to easily switch between having all your documents or only your basically your unique documents that you need to review.
Okay, so it's easy viewing, and you can present information. You can hide it easily. It's all contributing to an efficient review of your documents, of course. Let me introduce you Jay Snyder and Brenda Dodd. They are part of our US customer success team, and they are now going to present this new functionality from within the interface.
So Jay, just the other day we had a new release that included some new deduplication features. Can you talk about that for a minute and explain a little bit about how that will also help our audience kind of weed out some of the junk?
Yeah, definitely. So if you have been using Xylab for years, of course, you are aware that we deduplicate during processing, either by custodian or throughout the Matter. We can deduplicate and filter out duplicate documents. We also have duplicate identification, where if you do have duplicates, we can identify those through a little icon, or you can tag duplicates in bulk. And these have, or we even have near duplicates, and this has been around for a while. However, in our newest release, so this is available if you're one of our cloud clients and you use it in the cloud, it's already available to you. If you're an on-premises client, it'll be the next time you upgrade. And what we've done is we've really shifted the control to you to be able to manage how you want to deduplicate, when you want to deduplicate, and be able to have more insight into seeing whether it's a duplicate, how many duplicates exist, and this will help you with your decluttering as well. So we can go ahead and show that to you. The first thing we'll show is in the configuration button. And again, this is if you have the rights and if you're on the right release. There's a new deduplication area, and it's actually quite simple. We ran this the other day. And as you can see, you have an option between deduplicating at the Matter level, meaning across the entire collection of documents, or within a custodian. So for example, if I have a copy of a document and Brenda has a copy of a document, we will mark it accordingly. And it's a pretty simple process. You decide the level and manner of it, and you hit start. Again, we already ran this on the document set a few days ago. And then the result of that is when you're looking in the documents, you actually have a few options. As you can see, Brenda's got the columns up that show whether it's a duplicate or not, and that will let you know, is it a unique document or is it a duplicate? And if it is a duplicate, one of the document versions will be designated as the main document, the others will be duplicates of that document. And you can also see the duplicates count. So again, you can see in that other column that if there are duplicates or a main document, you know that there's 4 of them, there's 1 of them, 10 of them, 100, depending on, again, what you collected. So using these 2 fields, you're able to quickly identify duplicates. And so once you have identified duplicates and you want to declutter, Brenda, show us a good technique for handling that.
Okay, so in this case, I would want to filter by duplicate type by document, and I would want to select duplicate. And I am actually going to mark all of these. A tag's already been created, a duplicate tag, and I'm actually going to bulk tag them all so that I know when I'm doing my review, if I come across one of these documents, that it's an actual duplicate of this of another document. You can see here, I've already tagged 94,000 documents as duplicate. And where this is really going to be beneficial, and we'll talk about when we get to the production stages, you can now use this duplicate tag during that production so that you can identify documents that you do not want to produce.
And one great aspect of this deduplication feature, again, as we're handing over more control to you as you're using our system, is that If you simply want to just hide the duplicates from view because you want to go through your review, maybe you'll use the scope settings to tag duplicates as you review. All right, but Brenda, another great feature we've added related to duplicates is simply, you know what, with duplicates, I just don't even want to see the duplicates. I just want the unique documents. And an easy way to do that is if you notice under the document count where it says duplicate documents and it shows the number there, if you just click on that one time, it is going to hide the duplicates, and then you will only be left with the unique versions or unique documents. And you'll notice you always see that the duplicate documents have been hidden, and you can always show them again if needed. And that way you're able just to quickly get them out of sight.
So in other words, Jay, I wouldn't have had to have gone through that process of bulk tagging those documents as duplicate.
Well, that does have some advantages. Again, an easy way, if you identify by a tag to include in other searches, or as you said before, production. But yes, if you simply just want it out of sight, out of mind, we've already built that in for you. There's a few other options if you look under the gear on how to show and hide the duplicates. And that's another way to show all documents with the duplicate counts, or we also look at the families as well. But Brenda and I will be talking more about deduplication and duplicate identification in a future episode. So we just want to point this out as a quick way to declutter the screen.
Well, thank you, Jay, Brenda, for this nice presentation on the new deduplication functionality. If we look at the development on deduplication, Jan-Willem, you already mentioned something about that there is something coming up. There's also something not in the presentation of Jay and Brenda, but that is already in. That's about productions. Is that correct?
Yes, so it's probably good to note that we are continuously improving our software and also continuously actually rolling it out to our clients. So the things you saw today might already be outdated when you take part in this webinar. So one of the things we recently added is indeed also support for deduplication in production. So you can choose to filter out duplicates and only produce a single copy in your production. And then we also added an additional feature there to prevent data leakage. You could imagine that if a document is part of 4 custodians, so 4 custodians have a copy of the same document, but you're currently only producing for a single custodian, then the all custodians field will have 4 values for 4 custodians. So we also introduced 2 additional fields in legal production where you can opt to only produce the custodians and the sources that are present in the current production. So this means that if a document is part of 4 custodians and you're producing 2 custodians, that the all custodians field will only have these 2 custodians and not all 4. So this will prevent the other custodian names from being leaked, and the same for the sources, and also actually the same for the duplicate count. So we only produce out the count of the duplicate count of this document in the current production and not in your entire matter.
And that's already in.
That's already in. Was released I think 2 weeks ago, and we are currently working on supporting deduplication in review batch and sampling as well. That will be released very shortly. So when you create a review batch or when you create a sample set, you can choose whether you want to include or exclude duplicate documents or duplicate families. And things that we're also working on and that should be coming also shortly is support for applying redactions and annotations, both on the original and on the duplicates automatically. Now, this doesn't sound very hard, but it actually is not that trivial. You could imagine not all documents are, even though they're duplicates, are identical. This is especially true for emails. So for email, we don't look at the binary content of a document to determine whether it's a duplicate, but we look at some of the email properties, including the content of the email, but the content of the email does not take the layout into account. And if an email travels through different email systems, the layout might actually change. And that means that even if an email is officially a duplicate of another email, the layout might be different, which also means that if you would apply a redaction automatically to duplicate emails, the redaction might actually not be in the correct position. So we need to take care here. We need to make sure that people are informed that their redactions might not be accurate on, or annotations, but mostly redactions are accurate on these duplicates. So we need to detect this and to inform people. So this is why it's not that trivial. So that's something that's coming. And one other thing that's coming is we mentioned previously that we can filter out duplicates during processing. So we can determine whether a document is on the meta level or on the custodian level a duplicate, and then filter it out during processing, so it doesn't even make it into legal review. But we will also implement support for actually preserving the metadata of these duplicates and then presenting them with the main document in legal review. And so let's say a document is part of multiple custodians, and we filter them out during processing, but then in legal review you will still see that this document was part of those custodians or sources. So those are things that we're looking at currently.
Okay, good. There's a lot coming up in the future releases, and then we are talking about the next coming weeks, I think. Is it?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, production is already in. We will review batches and sampling support will be in. Well, will be in the coming weeks. That's completely done. Support for redaction and annotation on duplicates is what we will work on next. So that might we'll talking about weeks. But deduplication support with storing of metadata on duplicates during processing is something that is for the slightly longer term.
Okay.
So it's currently scheduled for the upcoming quarter, but that might still shift depending on priorities.
Yeah, and it's also good to mention that a completely new training video on deduplication is in its final stages, I think. So in the coming week or maybe 2 weeks, this video will be on our website. It's a docs.zylab.com page. What we do on this docs.zylab.com page, it's the complete documentation portal of basically all our manuals. But also the presentation of new releases can be found over there. So there's a What's New section on Zylab 1 SaaS. There you can find basically new releases, the functionalities that have been released, and also the links to the manuals and also videos where these new functionalities are introduced. And it's also nice to know that we have a new video channel. That's the Insider channel. You can find it under the menu option videos. Jay and Brenda are working quite hard, a lot on these videos to make sure that you are introduced in not only the functionalities, but also the way to use these functionalities to make your review process much more efficient. Okay, thank you, Jan Willem, for joining us today. And,
yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, okay, and I'm looking forward to see you in some of our next videos as well.
Yes, thanks for your time, Matthijs.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.